This Metallicus interview shows us the blockchain is a must and how stablecoins are necessary for credit unions. This interview shows from a good point of view, why credit unions will want stablecoins and how it's going to benefit them. It really comes from the credit union point of view, and it's going to be really good for us to see that from the credit union point of view. So let's get into it. It's going to be a long video. So I'm going to just go ahead and show our affiliate partner, DCENT Wallet, right now. Your crypto deserves the best protection. So why settle for less? DCENT Crypto Wallet isn't just another wallet. It's safe, secure, easy to use, and supports your favorite cryptocurrencies all at the touch of a button. And now with my exclusive link, you'll save $30 on your new wallet. Better security, smarter investing, $30 in your pocket. Click on the link now and secure your better security today. Okay, very much love our affiliate partner, DCENT Wallet. If you guys are looking for a wallet, it's really easy. You can swap inside of the wallet on the phone app. No need to take it out, put it on the exchange, swap it, then put it back in the wallet. You can swap inside the wallet on the phone app. And if you have any questions about DCENT Wallet, we did have an AMA with them. Check that out on our live portion of our channel here. But without ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. And by the way, the sound is a little rough on here. This is just what it is on the Metallicus end. This is the sound that they posted. So just know that it'll be a little rough, but we'll do the best we can do. And also, this is a reaction video, so I will be reacting to the video. If you guys want to see the video without any interruptions, go to Metallicus's X and you'll be able to see that. But again, the sound is a little rough. In certain portions, you will also even hear a hiss. That's on their end and not on mine. Okay, so let's continue.
And we basically discussed the future vision for stablecoins, which, as you mentioned, has been a really hot topic, not just with the credit unions, but all of technology across the blockchain space, but into tech. And it was a great opportunity to connect with the other credit unions and it kind of start with a stablecoin 101. What is a stablecoin? How does it work? And then going into the more complex questions of how does treasury management work? What are the financial opportunities and member benefits for having this technology? How is it going to change, for example, debit and credit interchange? And we talked about that in our last. It's going to change a lot. Somebody brought that up, and I said, well, it's this is the opportunity to get ahead of it now and to see these other revenue opportunities, such as growing your balance sheet for one can increase the revenues just around, for example, having T-bills. You're not necessarily paying any sort of interest on these stablecoins. In fact, the new Genius and Clarity Acts stipulate that you can't. And so it's just a ripe opportunity for the credit unions, but also disrupting the peer-to-peer payments,
for sure.
E-commerce.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Gosh. I touched on a few different things, such as this is the first time in history that we have eliminated counterfeit currency. When you use digital cash, there is no counterfeit stablecoin. It either exists or it doesn't. That's a huge de-risking on fraud and other things. But outside of that, there's the capability for instant payments, settlement, not only nationally but internationally, globally, 24/7.
Immediately, yeah, anywhere on the globe. Yeah.
And I brought up another point that I think a lot of people have not really been thinking about so much, but businesses love to have cash. Sometimes you'll see, like it's typical in the restaurant business, cash only or something.
Yeah.
Well, now you can be cash only digitally.
Yeah.
And that's like a complete change for e-commerce, for online payments, and you can have you can eliminate chargebacks. Not only can you accept digital cash, but you eliminate the ability to have a chargeback. And in the future, you can also we're developing technology that will allow to have those protections, but also just a more transparent rule set, a better system, right?
So very cool upfront. Eliminating fraud, easy to money zero. It isn't. you would with cash, you can have fraud. It can be counterfeit dollars, counterfeit hundreds, counterfeit 20s, and that type of ilk. And the 24-hour liquidity. So it's like you don't need to have cash on hand to, possibly a target for, a bank robber or something like that. Since liquidity will be 24 hours via systems like Ripple, right? You can have 24-hour, like you can instant liquidity via digital, okay? So digitally, you have instant liquidity, okay? So let's continue.
Right, versus like, some vendors might be nervous about Amex because the customer always wins the chargeback in that case or something like that.
Yeah.
But with stablecoins, it's all programmable, and that's something that we touched on, and I think people are very excited about.
Indeed. Irina, you want to add anything to that?
I just think it was very interesting to hear the questions, and they were ranging from, tell us the technology of your blockchain, and people, somebody from a credit union just really wanted to know how everything works, how are the keys managed, how is the network built, and all the way to, how do we generate revenues, like how do we manage our customers. So I think that's interesting what the credit unions are thinking about, right? Is it technology? Is it benefits to customers? Is it liquidity?
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe we are in our own world where it's a lot of it is technology, but we really need to hear what the credit unions need to know.
A lot of the credit union, all the fees are going away.
Yeah.
And so stablecoin's going to make interchange fee moot. So that's going to go away. So they're concerned about this type of stuff. But you guys bring it around full circle to all the positives that are going to stem from it, right?
So that's interesting. The way that he explained that, the other guy with the pink shirt, the way that he explained that was almost as if fees going away is a problem for the credit unions. And I can understand how it could be, because they probably tack on a little surcharge, a little VIG, if you will, onto fees where they get paid off of those fees because of, he basically said it, and we know that this is something that Ripple does, right? That XRP does. The whole like exchange into foreign exchanges, that whole thing goes away. Like changing and having to change into foreign fiats. It's just for anywhere around the world globally. Okay. Now, he was saying then that there were other benefits that will kind of take care of not having the little fees from having to change from, say US to Euro, or US to Euro to BAT, or US to Euro to, yen or whatever, so they're going to lose those fees, but yet they're going to have 24-hour access to liquidity.
Exactly. I mentioned in the session, you see some of these crypto companies like Circle, somebody joked that they're printing cash because they're, in the business of minting stablecoins, but they're doing so well. They just IPO'd, the stock's done tremendous, and it's just kind of a little microcosm of where this is all headed.
Right.
But we see it intersecting with the credit unions because the regulatory atmosphere is perfect, and the greater crypto ecosystem is really excited about working with local banks, with local credit unions, and kind of moving away from the big guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's the ethos ultimately of crypto, and those larger banks mistreated them, in years past. So now you have the credit unions coming and saying, "Hey, come in."
Yeah, they're positioned prime for this type
Exactly.
of stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And they better capitalize on it, or else I don't know if that opportunity is going to happen again. So.
I said I think it's the biggest opportunity in the credit union space in a long time,
many
maybe
moons.
ever.
Yeah, many moons for sure. So but on that tack, what's keeping credit unions from really jumping on board? Is it just the knowledge of it right now, the education, the awareness? I mean, what are you guys seeing out there, Irina?
So what was interesting to hear at the conference that I don't think we can get it other than in like the hallways is they want to make sure that they don't offer product to their members and their members will lose money. So if they tell their members, you can buy crypto with your credit union,
Right.
and they make a mistake and they buy their own crypto, the crypto goes down or something happens, they don't want to put, because they're supposed to be safeguarding the money of their members, and that's what I think, Marshall talks about this a lot. On our platforms, we don't offer a lot of different coins. We educate people about, this is Bitcoin, this is Ethereum, this is this other coin. This is why we don't list certain coins on our platforms. Credit unions can also choose that as well. But what was interesting for me to hear that you don't hear that in Zoom meetings is we don't want to offer a product to our members that's risky, or they can be perceived as risky.
And that's very interesting, because look at the things that they offer on their platform. What they offer on their platform are the ISO 222 coins, Cardano, XRP, Stellar, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Okay, they don't offer anything that's you know what I mean, truly risky. If you want to make the distinction between blockchain and crypto, everything that they offer is kind of blockchain based, as opposed to like a crypto meme coin or something like that. Everything they offer is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Stellar, Ripple, Hedera, Cardano, right? So that's what we got there.
And maybe some of them understand the risk, but the credit unions are supposed to protect everybody.
Well, it's a conservative industry, if you guys haven't discovered so far.
Right.
Sometimes to a fault, but there's reasons for that, and that's why credit unions are so stable when it comes there. They can weather almost any economic hardship that's out there, so that's a good thing. So that's where that conservative stuff comes in. But in this case, you kind of got to let go of the reins a little bit, I think. So to jump on this
we do a lot of
opportunity.
education. We educate people about crypto. What is it? What is a Bitcoin? What makes it go up and down? We don't predict anything, but we educate that it is volatile.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think there is a lot of positives that can be mitigated with education.
Well, every day I see some story come across my news feed or whatever that so-and-so is adopting stablecoins, so-and-so is adopting, all these really well-known organizations, whether it's financial or not, are adopting this type of stuff. So like it or not, it's mainstream. So
that's exactly right.
Did you guys address that in there as well? I'm sure you did.
We did, and we Arena mentioned our Metal Blockchain Banking Innovation Program, which has been hugely popular, specifically with the credit unions. We have over 750 members in the program now, and it seems like every day we're getting new stablecoin pilot applicants. But some of the questions that came up were, well, what kind of controls do we have around the stablecoin? Can we know who's sending from A to B? Can we, meet the BSA requirements and the compliance requirements that we have in our credit union today? And that's what we built at Metallicus. It wasn't always the popular thing to utilize digital identity, but we made the prediction that decentralized protocols will use this stuff. And then once you have those tools, a whole new platform of options opens up, because now you can recover private keys. You'll never have anyone lose their crypto again. You know where money's coming from and going to. If you want to real-time notify multiple institutions if someone sends from A to B to C, they can all be notified real-time, where in the past you maybe had the compliance agent or officer calling bank A or calling credit union A to call credit union B to call credit union C, and it's can now.
So basically what he's talking about is smart contracts. Smart contracts can be set up where everybody's immediately notified. It's not something where you need these multiple humans in a kind of in the chain, like double checking, verifying trust. Smart contract and blockchain do that kind of automatically. That's a huge benefit of cryptocurrency, of blockchain, of distributed ledger technology.
Can all be automated. Aside from that, the digital loyalty and rewards that can be tied in, that can be easily programmable. One question that came up was, well, in a public blockchain, what happens if I accidentally send to the wrong address? And our solution to that is, we're not only offering stablecoins, but we're planning on helping credit unions launch their own private permissioned blockchains. So they can go in, freeze accounts, recover keys. They can do all these things real time, and they have this kind of sandbox. It still connects to public networks with Metal Blockchain like Ethereum and other popular networks. But inside these private permission chains that can talk to each other because of Metal Blockchain's technology, it makes them interoperable. So you can move assets from one credit union's private chain to another, to maybe a public chain. But we anticipate that a lot of people may just stay inside these private permission chains, and it gives the credit union more control than they've ever.
So you have the ability to stay within your private chain. Like you can create like your own private stablecoin, kind of like they did with St. Cloud, and you got your private kind of ecosystem there, and you can interact with a public one like Ethereum if you want to. And this is what they're calling private and public, but this makes a lot of sense to me. I think like when we look at things like Swift blockchain, like I think they're going to have big connections to things like Alibaba, things like WeChat, things like Baidu, publicly, but privately they're going to have, you know, connections to BRICS Pay. Okay, this is the same thing here with Metallicus, and that with the credit unions you can go ahead and create your own private blockchain but still have access to Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all the other public blockchains as you want.
Ever had before.
Exactly, and that's the other goal for credit unions with this type of stuff, is keeping them in the credit union ecosystem.
Right.
Because once they go out, it's never, take the Robinhood example, if you will. Like, you know, people go invest on Robinhood, and they make some. That money's not coming back.
Yeah.
Right.
So in this case, it can stay in that ecosystem, which makes the industry that much more valuable.
Yeah, exactly, to your point, because you know, we mentioned that in the session that you know, members are seeing flights to Robinhood, to Coinbase, to our platform, and you know, it doesn't usually come back. Right. Maybe they have the Robinhood credit card or debit card. Maybe they have the Coinbase card. They don't necessarily need to bring it back, and then they feel that, well, if there are all these other crypto services, why don't I just stay over here until I need to bring some back? And maybe they're only bringing a portion of profits back or something, and not the full deposit. But with our model, not only can we prevent the flight, every time somebody buys a Bitcoin inside your credit union with Metal API, it stays inside the credit union. So if people come and buy $1 billion.
So this is something that they learned early in crypto. Like if there was like a stable coin available on a network, people would keep their money in that network, in that for volatile. You know, say it was a bear market, then they would scoop up, you know, the assets, wait till the assets go high. When the assets go high, sell the assets and get back into stable coins, but they would keep it within that network. Say Solana, say Ethereum, you know what I mean? Binance, they would keep it within the network. So they're like, oh, okay. Well, now, I guess that gave them the idea to have stable coins the way that they work right now. So what they're saying is now if a credit union has its own stable coin and they have their own on and off ramps with the debit card, then the money could stay within the liquidity can stay within their ecosystem. Okay, well, if I got St. Cloud dollars, I don't have to, you know, and St. Cloud gives me a stable coin that I can use, and I can use it everywhere. And St. Cloud's the one who's going to give me St. Cloud Federal Credit Union. Okay. You know, St. Cloud's going to give me loans. St. Cloud's going to do, you know, all of this, you know, car loan, home loan. Then the money kind of stays within the credit union's ecosystem, their private ecosystem. Now he's going to mention something coming up, which happened to me as a university student. And this is kind of why I'm so excited about what can happen for Metallicus. Okay, so let's continue.
$1 billion of crypto inside your credit union. Now your assets under management have grown by $1 billion.
A little bit, and that's a good thing.
Yes, exactly.
I want to cut to the chase here. So, what was your big call to action, or what was the big message that you wanted to get across? I'm going to let Irina go first. Or maybe I should let Marshall go first.
I mean, you know, we want to make sure that nobody's late to the game.
Thank you.
And this is why we started the pilot program, because that's just like you could play with it. But then, you know, we want credit unions to understand, you know, what's the next step? Let's take the next step. And whatever it takes, education, technology, integrations, board approvals, all of those things need to align, right? And we're happy to help with some of those things that we can influence, but that's the call to action that this is going to happen.
Yeah, I think some people in the ballroom like that suggestion a lot. So they're already screaming and hollering.
That's the call to action. This is going to happen. She's not phased, and she's right. It's going to happen. This is legal, okay? ISO 222 says that all banks have to use this new messaging system, which means they'll have to have their they'll have to have their own stablecoin. So this is happening, like it or not. Let's go back a little bit here and hear that again.
Those things need to align, right? And we're happy to help with some of those things that we can influence, but that's the call to action that this is going to happen.
Yeah. I think some people in the ballroom like that suggestion a lot. So they're already screaming and hollering for it. Marshall, how about you? The big call to action from your perspective?
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what Irina said. Our call to action is really to come and join our banking innovation program, so we can educate your executive team, your members. We can start to play with the technology, so we can walk before we run, and to really take a hard look at what's happening in the digital asset space and seize the opportunity. Because, like I said earlier, the regulation has just passed. We have the Genius Act, the Clarity Act. You have a very crypto-friendly regulator with the
NC. See that? He's saying it's the regulation has passed. This is official now. This is not something that's played. Like, this is not, people just sitting in a computer lab playing around with Bitcoin anymore. It's legal. The regulation is in place.
UA and Chairman Kyle Huntman, who's been very great to the crypto space and I think understands it very well. And so the atmosphere aligning with all of these, I called it like the stars aligning. You have the crypto space that was formerly debanked by a lot of the large banks and not treated very well.
Yeah, you're right about that.
They believe in the ethos of the credit unions because that aligns with the ethos of Bitcoin and blockchain. And they want to come and they want to keep their assets inside of the credit union. So, would you keep your life savings in your PayPal account? Probably not. It's probably not a good idea. No offense, PayPal, but you want to keep it inside a credit union or a bank. And that's what people want with digital assets. So the stars have aligned in that sense that the technology is evolving. Members want to keep crypto and buy and trade crypto inside the credit union. And now we also have an opportunity to help the credit union space grow on the technology side, but also retain deposits to prevent deposits from flowing out to third parties. It's a huge one. And also just to stay relevant with Gen Z. Gen Z loves crypto. Yeah. I mean, really all ages. I'm a millennial, but I love crypto. My grandfather's 91 years old. He loves crypto. And I know even I don't know what the one before Gen Z is called, but the
I'm all lost in the generations. Somebody.
Even those.
Well, the one before Gen Z, I believe, is millennial, which I am also. And the one after Gen Z, I believe, is Gen Alpha. But that's neither here nor there. But it seems as though Gen Z, honestly, Marshall, I don't know what the stats say, but I think it's really us millennials and X's that are really kind of heavy with crypto right now. Gen Z, I don't know that Gen Z is more concerned with what's trending. But hey, Gen Z, if you're listening. It'd be very good for you to be concerned with crypto right now, and investing right now. But let's continue.
Alpha.
The very young kids that are, they're in middle school, whatever. They even have Dogecoin. They have crypto. So you have all age ranges. And on the Gen Z point, I think that this is a tremendous opportunity because they see this phenomenon. And when the credit unions embrace blockchain, I think the younger generation is just going to flow into the credit unions.
And that is a big deal in this industry. I think we talked about on our last episode about the credit unions need to get younger membership-wise, big time. And I think
this is the way.
One of the ways to do it for sure. And the other thing, as you're talking, I'm thinking about how the younger generations are getting into this. I mean, and it's making us or making them more financially literate, which is what we didn't have in previous generations. My generation, 100%. If you can balance a checkbook, look how much trouble that gets me in,
When I was in college, 20 years ago as a freshman, the first thing I saw walking out of my dormitory in Boston was these people trying to sell me a credit card.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and you
right.
have a lot of
That's it. That's it right there. And they did this also at Michigan State University. They were selling kids credit cards, and the first thing you be walking around and you'd see someone trying to sell you a credit card. Why? Because college students really, really need money, right? A lot of college students are broke, right? And you need money for books. You want to party with people. You want to go drink and all this other stuff, right? This is why I'm so high on what ZEBEC is doing with Science Card and the universities over in the UK. Now, flash to Metallicus. Imagine Metallicus doing something like this again with Michigan State University and offering rewards within that whole ecosystem. Like I said, I went to Michigan State University, graduated from there. It's this whole own ecosystem. The whole city of East Lansing, like 90 something percent, 92 or something crazy big percentage, 92 or something percentage of that city is the college, right? And then right outside of that college, you got Grand River, which is like where all the bars are, all the arcades and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting if Metallicus did something in which, those bars and people got the benefit. You can already see them trying to do something like that with St. Cloud right now. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys. In which they're offering they're offering extra rewards for going to shop around certain places around there, where you're getting 5 times the rewards. Let me see here. There we go. Imagine if your rewards credit card not only gave you rewards with merchants, but also crypto rewards by connecting you directly to the blockchain. There's a digital asset movement brewing within America's credit unions, and it will change everything. So here it is, where St. Cloud Financial Credit Union, the one where Metallicus gave them the first stablecoin in the U.S., with your St. Cloud Financial Credit Union rewards credit card, you will get rewarded for every dollar you spend, but now even more. We're offering 5-time rewards on your purchases made at qualifying retail stores between October 1st and December 31st with your rewards credit card. 5 times the rewards. Now imagine Michigan State University doing that with some of the companies around, Michigan State. Some of the bars, some of the, some of the the bookstores. All the students have to buy books. It just opens so much possibility up there. And it'd be really exciting to see if they can do something like that. So let's get back to this here.
A lot of young people who
Get in trouble.
They got into trouble.
Yeah.
They got those cards, and there wasn't really a lot of financial literacy in schools and things like that to teach these things, unfortunately. And the interesting thing about blockchain that I find, especially with the younger generation, is they learn how money works.
Yeah.
They say, well, how does Bitcoin work?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, how is the US dollar printed? What's quantitative easing?
They want to know the history in the background, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody who gets into blockchain and crypto learns these things. And so now you're having savvier young people who are not getting so much into debt, but they're investing into crypto. They're using DeFi to learn, I think Albert Einstein called it, one of the great world wonders is compounding interest.
Yes,
They're discovering compounding interest.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful byproduct of all of this type of stuff, that we're going to be more aware and just more comfortable with money and talking about it freely. So where
And Metallicus offers that compounding interest with their metal lending platform. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. I mentioned it in tons of videos with Metallicus, and we'll mention it here before. As soon as we end this video, I'll show you their metal lending platform. But let's continue.
Previous generation, it was almost taboo to talk about money around the table. So yeah,
right now people are excited about it.
For sure.
And it's,
Well, they can talk about crypto and it's not
Exactly,
money, right?
yeah.
And then it's a whole different.
There's a
conversation.
commercial. I can't remember what commercial it is. I think it's a Verizon or something like that, where they have to go to the doghouse. But the little girl who's probably like in 8th grade, yeah, I invested in crypto, and by golly, we're gonna rally, and like, here's this 12-year-old girl talking about crypto. Like, I love it. So yeah.
It's really brought, especially mentioning Gen Z, the younger generation are building startups on this. And I mean, really, all from the largest tech companies, like you mentioned earlier, you see like Fiserv launching their stablecoin product.
Yeah.
You've got PayPal. You have Bank of America has more blockchain patents than any.
So I mentioned Fiserv launching their stablecoin product, and I was mentioning that there may be some connection there with ZEBEC. And then right after that, Paxos, who helped with the Fiserv stablecoin, mentioned that they were partnered with ZEBEC. It's interesting that that Marshall mentions that right now, because Metallicus is also partnered with Fiserv. So maybe there's also a Metallicus connection with that Fiserv stablecoin. Very, very interesting.
Company in the crypto space, and now the floodgates are open, and the light is shining on credit unions as this is the opportunity.
Now's the time. Now's
That's
the time. All right, guys. Well, I'm sure we could talk another 3 hours on this topic. I know you guys could, but anything else to add to wrap up before I let you go for the rest of the show? Irina, any final thoughts here on this topic?
This is my first conference at the credit union space, and I just love it. I think everybody's just, I love that the credit unions are friends with each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool to see.
I mean, yeah.
How many other-
I don't know if banks are gonna come.
No.
Not the same.
Because they're all sitting and they're asking the questions, and they know they're not competing for anything because they have their own, specific demographics that they serve, and they want to be, helpful to each other. They want to be friendly with each other. They want each other to succeed. And it's like what Marshall said. It's how crypto started. That's what crypto is all about.
Yeah.
And not to be too Kool-Aid-ish. I don't know. But
Along the same lines, for sure. Marshall, final thoughts, sir, on this? There's not a final thought on it, but for this interview.
Yeah, it's just great to be here at the conference and meeting with so many credit unions and CUSOs. And, what I would say to anyone watching this is, if you're interested in stablecoins, blockchain technology, and you work in the credit union space, come and join our program, our blockchain banking innovation program. We have over 750 members. It's growing every day. We have new members coming in.
Guys.
Thanks. And we run educational programs and seminars because, like I said earlier, you have to kind of walk before you can run. And we want to help the credit unions get up to speed. And when they're ready, we have the full vertical stack of technology for them. So Metallicus.com, and you can come check us out.
We'll be paying attention. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Studio Lounge.
Ooh, yeah, that was awesome. Very, very cool there from Metallicus. And like I said here, let's share the Metal lending platform in which you can get, if you lend on here, you get paid out a percentage. You can see here for Stellar, it's 2.26 APY, and you can see the others for the other cryptos here. Very, very cool percentage here. And then you can also borrow, which, not financial advice. Don't quote me on this. I hear that borrowing against your crypto is not a taxable event. So if you're concerned really about that, this might be an avenue for you in which you can use to avoid, not avoid, I'm not saying avoid, but to not have to pay crypto taxes because you're not creating a taxable event. Okay, so definitely something to check out here. Some of the best and stable cryptocurrencies as far as like HBAR, Dogecoin, Circle, XMT, XPR, Ripple, Stellar, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Cardano. So definitely let me know what you guys thought about this. And if you made it all the way to the end, please put in Metal X for Metallicus's lending program. That's Metal X. Put that in the comments. It really helps spread the video around. And that's it. Thanks. Peace.